Hello, welcome to the latest Business Brew podcast from BUSINESSiQ. Our guest today, Andy Ray, Group Operations Director of Applebridge, the winners, of course, of the BUSINESSiQ Award for Leading Company in the Northeast. Hi, Andy, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Excellent. Yeah, we're all fine. Let's start with the obvious one from our point of view, that awards night. I mean, we had a great time. What did it feel like to be up on that stage?
It was fantastic. I think to be rubbing shoulders with some of the other names that were present at the event was fantastic, really. And it's nice to be invited. It's nice to be shortlisted, but to actually win the award, we were a little bit taken aback. And it's certainly taken pride of place in reception at our headquarters.
Excellent stuff. I mean, I know we obviously went to the judging session, and it was quite an intense affair. There's a lot of very learned people around the table, so we didn't just tick any boxes. People interrogated what you were about, what the other contenders were about, and what it would mean to someone like Applebridge to be given that sort of accolade. So listen, many congratulations, thoroughly deserved.
Thanks. No, I appreciate it. Thanks.
Cool. Tell us a little bit about the company then, because the branding may be all over. It's only been going just over 10 years now, but seems to have made quite an impact. What's it all about? What do you do there?
Yeah, that's right. So, you're right what you're saying. We set up just over 10 years ago, celebrated our 10-year anniversary last year, and that coincided with us breaking the £100 million turnover mark as a group for the first time. So, again, something that we're very proud of. The business was formed by our chief executive, Donny Hughes, in 2013, and we're a group of construction and civil engineering businesses, or businesses that serve the construction and civil engineering sectors. We offer a wide range of services. Like I say, the businesses we're made up of 8 separate companies. So those businesses range from our newest business, which is Applebridge Environmental. We have ZTL, which is our earthworks business, AD Plant Hire, Applebridge Construction, which is our general civil engineering arm, Applebridge Utilities, Applebridge Building Services, Retaining UK, which manufactures and designs and installs reinforced concrete retaining wall products, and finally Tarcon, which is our tarmac surfacing business. And we work together quite a lot. The various businesses work together. We try to win work for each other and self-generate work for our own businesses, and really offer a cradle-to-grave service to our clients to take everything from conception right through to completion. And like I say, the latest venture that we started last year was our site investigation business, Applebridge Environmental, which is something that we've been looking to do for quite a long time. We want to be able to offer that additional service to clients, where we can take on some of their projects right from inception stage of some of the projects that we get involved with, and really try to add value right from an early stage. And that's what we're about.
It's interesting what you're saying about, obviously it's known as the Applebridge family, and that is just something you touched on there, that it is very interconnected, isn't it? That they're working together, they're, I say, providing that complete package, but the way they're all connected is quite an important part of the structure there, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, and that was quite important to our brand. We rebranded all of the businesses in 2021, and prior to that, we had different identities. We had companies who weren't particularly linked from an outside world point of view. They didn't see the link between, say, the way that ZTL were branded and the way that Applebridge Construction were branded. So we wanted to develop a brand which knitted all of the companies together, and I think we achieved that quite well. But when we went through that rebranding process and formed the group, what came through loud and clear from Donny and the rest of the board was, we don't want to be this corporate entity. We feel very much as a family, not just a family of businesses, but a family of employees and colleagues. And we wanted to reflect that within the brand. So that's where the Applebridge family came from.
Yeah. And as I say, it's sort of growing, but presumably you got the idea that it's only just started, really. It's got this incredible mountain of work behind it, but that's only 10 years. I mean, what is there, like a very long-term strategy? Is it just, will that family keep growing, do you think?
Yeah, we want to continue to create opportunity. There's a legacy that we want to leave behind for the next generation of our families to move into. And yeah, it is. It's something that we feel is right at the start. We set up our own academy a couple of years ago.
Right.
We'll come onto it, no doubt, but there is a skill shortage in the industry. And there's a gap that needs to be filled. And I've always taken the approach that, we're a construction business. We self-deliver. We rely heavily on skilled tradespeople. And there's a shortage of them out there. There's no doubt about it. And I've always taken the approach that nobody's going to solve this problem for the industry. It relies on companies like us to grab a hold of the issue and do something about it. So that's where our academy came from. We'd had success prior to the academy with some, graduate training programs and with some apprenticeships, but we felt we would get into a stage and a size where we wanted to take that to the next level. So the academy allows us to bring through the next generation into the business and into the industry, but also attract people from other industries who may be looking for a change of direction, and ultimately offer something to our existing employees as well to upscale those people and allow them to continue to grow as well.
Yeah, I think it's always a thing that I always go on about here at BUSINESSiQ, about the fact that we've got such opportunity at the moment right across the region, such massive projects and a little bit of innovation and different things. But unless we get that skills pipeline absolutely perfect, we're going to shoot ourselves in the foot, because all this investment will be coming in and we'll be the ones, we can't sort of to fuel it. So as you say, I suppose you've got to do what Applebridge are doing, and you've got to say, okay, I'm just going to do it myself. I'm going to make sure that we've got that feedstock going in. That means we can keep doing the projects. Get a grip of it yourself, I suppose.
Absolutely. And taking responsibility for it as well. We want to train people in a certain way. We want people to come into the business who have the work ethic, the core skills that we want them to have. And we want to educate them with the right tools as soon as they enter the industry, really. We have seen people come into the business who've maybe picked up bad habits elsewhere, or they come with habits that we want to change. It's so much easier if we can teach those things from an early age and teach good habits that become repetitive.
Yeah. Just tell me just a little bit about your own background, Andy. How did you come to be in this sort of position? Was it always sort of engineering, construction sort of stuff for you? What sort of a lad are you?
Pretty much. I think when you set off, like many people, you look to your own father, perhaps, and my dad worked in the fishing industry, and nice. I think at an early age that was the path that I was going to follow, no doubt about it. But the fishing industry crashed in the north back in the 90s, and my dad took a different path, and it made me really think my options. And I went sort of like first came into the construction industry. I did a degree in construction management, and then came out of uni and did a couple of years as a site engineer. I worked for a couple of tier 1 main contractors, started down in London, and then slowly moved back to the northeast, and progressed really with those guys, and then joined Donny back in 2013, and hopefully have been a part of what we've managed to grow here.
Certainly seems like it. Do you miss getting your hands dirty out there, or does it still happen? Do you still get the yellow jacket on and the hard hat out there?
Still get the jacket on, yeah. But try to keep my hands clean. But it's yeah. I think like anything that you get more heavily involved with strategy and things away from the coalface, and you miss that, because I think most people that have come from the background that I've come from like to solve problems, like to, a technical problem in front of you that you can get your hands dirty and solve. yeah, they're not always the day-to-day challenges. There's a few others that get thrown our way as well.
No, indeed. Let's talk about some of the projects Applebridge are involved with. I mean, a couple of major ones. Obviously, there was work on the SEER plant up at Tees Works and Middlesbrough College. I'm not sure where you are with that now, but that's a massive construction project there. What's sort of on the go at the moment, Andy?
Yeah, so you've mentioned K2, or the SEER wind factory for K2. That's a phenomenal scheme. The pace in which it's developing at and moving at is phenomenal, and the amount of work that's being undertaken down there is it's huge. So that's quite a draw at the moment, and we've got a lot of resource sort of like deployed down there. And then there's the wider works down at Tees Works. You know, it was great news last week. Certainly, we recognise that in our business that Ben Houchin was re-elected, and you know, his support for what's going on down at Tees Works is a huge boost for the region. Certainly in terms of employment, job creation, and the investment that's going to come into the region on the back of it. So we're very much behind that. And we've got involved with a few different projects down at Tees Works. So we've been working on the quay wall, the new quay wall that's being constructed, the new water course that's on down there. We, as well as the SEER project, we're working on a reactive maintenance contract. So looking at the wider Tees Works site and you know, trying to provide services to the upkeep of that. So Tees Works is we're very involved down there, and you know, there's a lot more opportunity to come. Away from that, you mentioned Middlesbrough College. So yeah, we undertook a project at Middlesbrough College, which is complete now, or certainly our element of the works are complete. We've got a strong background in residential works. We work for a lot of the national house builders, operating from Northumberland down to South Yorkshire. We've got works over in the northeast, northwest, down really as far as Northampton and Kings Lynn. We're working on the new battery storage facility at Wilton Power Station. We're working on an anaerobic digestion plant just outside of Kettering. So yeah, works are quite diverse and quite involved.
So when you get into, I'm interested in a sort of project that the size of sort of, like, let's say Tees Works, it's got a global spotlight on it. Do you feel that the local companies like Applebridge obviously get a look in there? There's a recognition about trying to keep it local. Do you get that sort of feeling that this is a big opportunity for local firms, not only national firms? Does that come across? Yeah,
it does. It does, and I think. Yeah, I mean, we've certainly been provided opportunity to get on down there. We've, you know, we can almost see the Tees Works site from our head office. So it's always been a draw for us that we wanted to be involved. We needed to be involved. But from a client perspective, the client's very much driven local employment, local labour, opportunity for young people in the industry and in the region. So that's come across, yes, absolutely. And as a local company, we're proud to be involved with the works that's happening down there, and we certainly want to maintain that relationship going forward.
Yeah, and obviously what it comes down to as well is jobs for local people, because the more you're expanding, the more your reputation grows and the contracts you get, that means jobs. Presumably that's a really important thing for a company like Applebridge, to make sure that there's local people, all those husbands and wives and kids and all that sort of thing, that are all getting a local opportunity to work here. It's
such an opportunity. I mean, look, there's another 15 to 20 years worth of work to happen down at Tees Works, you'd imagine. So you could see young people coming into the industry now and potentially, you know, having a full apprenticeship all on that one site, potentially having employment for the next 10 to 15 years on that site. And then, you know, the extension of that is there's a huge site there that needs to be maintained. And there's going to be ongoing repairs and extension works and everything else that goes on. So, you know, you could see now that people could join the industry now and see the full career out there. It's so big. So yeah, there's huge opportunity there for people in this region.
And then mention that interconnectivity at Applebridge, that also if they start maybe doing some construction work at Teesworks, because of the construction of your company, they could move into anything. They can move across into what office work, admin, anything like that. There's a lot of opportunities there, and you presumably want to keep those local people local. You don't want them just to bounce into you for a couple of years and then go off somewhere else. You want to make sure, as you said, they can build an entire career from scratch with you and here in the Northeast.
Well, we have a staff retention rate of about 94%, which again for the construction industry is quite remarkable. We invest time in people, we invest money in people. We don't want to see people leaving the business. So one of the advantages of having a number of different businesses in the group is it provides exactly that. It gives people the opportunity, maybe it's not just to stay in one lane, but move as the career progresses, whether it be into an office-based role, whether it be into a white-collar role, or whether just to be completely change lanes and work in a different sector altogether. But we can provide that opportunity, and certainly when we see younger people coming through and people with the right skills that we've helped to develop, the last thing you want them to do is walk away from the business or feel that they have to walk away from the business because they can't fulfill the ambitions that they have within the company. I think that is one of the most painful ways that we would ever see somebody leave the business. So we want to retain the good stuff that we've got and make sure that we've got opportunities that keeps them here, keeps them interested to be here, and as you say, they can build a full career on it.
So looking at all those opportunities, it's just an interesting point to ask you about whether there's still a perception about the boys versus girls thing. Is it still seen as a male-dominated sector, or are you seeing a genuine sort of breakthrough where you're getting more young women thinking, actually, I fancy a career in engineering and construction or whatever?
Well, we're certainly seeing more people come through, seeing a more diverse mix of male and females coming through into the industry at a younger age. I think even if you go back 5 years, the amount of females that were coming through into technical roles, that's changed even over a 5-year period. Right. And I honestly see the barriers are really, really being broken down now. We've got females working in planning roles. We've got females working in commercial roles. We've got females working as engineers on site. We've got female plant operators, ground workers. We need to see more coming through, but I would say the barriers have really been broken down. To go back to your question, is it still a male-dominated industry? It is, unfortunately. Sure. But that's a legacy thing. That's because there's so many people from the previous generation that we talk heavily about this skill shortage in the industry, but for years and years we only ever targeted 50% of the population, and that's been really damaging. We need to expand that, and I do genuinely think that the barriers have been broken down. I think there's still a challenge out there that even if you look at some of the facilities that are provided on site for females, we've still got a long way to go in the industry, making sure that we've got separate male and female toilets. And that sounds like something that we shouldn't be talking about in this day and age. Sure. But unfortunately, we still are. So I think some sites still have a way to go to ensure that opportunities are balanced up. But the gap's definitely shrunk, and we're definitely starting to see more and more females coming through, and we welcome them because like I say, we went for so long just focusing or just attracting generally males into the industry that we created some of our own problems.
I think I completely agree that that's the perception, that we weren't doing so well in it a while ago. But then there's been a recognition. I think there's a genuine push, and statistically, it won't be balanced up yet. It's a longer job to do it. But as long as there's a willingness there, a bit of a drive to identify that fact, and then I think particularly either at the family end of things or at the college end of things, it has to be just completely open. Just do whatever you want to do. What do you feel like? Do you want to be an engineer? Do you want to work in space? Do you want to work in an office? Anything like that. There's just got to be absolutely no barriers. and then just get on with it. Just, a whole untapped number of people there that might have turned away from some companies and some projects and are now thinking about it. That just seems a good place to be.
Yeah, and the more females that come through, they themselves become role models to, they'll be going out and speaking to their own family members, going into colleges, going into universities, going into schools, talking about their challenges, what they faced in the industry, but also shining a light on the fact that actually a lot of these barriers have already been broken down, and it's hopefully going to be an easier passage through for people joining the industry now.
Yeah. So we've talked obviously about recruiting people into Applebridge. Obviously, the other big impact you're having, presumably, is on the supply chain. People that are working for you as you're getting onto these sort of larger projects. What do you look for? Do you try and stay local as well when you're looking for more companies to work with? Do you try and particularly make a point of making them Northeast companies?
Yeah, that's always the starting point. And, we looking at the TeesWorks development as the major project that we have on at the moment, that's exactly where we've looked at to draw from Northeast businesses. We've got a good supply chain, a good local supply chain, and so far they haven't let us down. I do think it's fair to say that as TeesWorks gets bigger, as BP come on, and as the next projects start, we are we're going to exhaust the resources that we have in the region. I think TeesWorks is too big for the Northeast construction industry, but as long as the Northeast contractors are getting a fair crack of the whip, and that feeds all the way down through the supply chain, then we can't have too much to complain about.
Now, to think that sector would be sort of pretty much fully occupied here is all you'd want, isn't it? Really, you can want it to grow, but as long as everyone's sort of kept busy by it. I mean, I suppose what that boils down to is that the simplest of things. The amount of work that you're getting, the businesses that you work with, the people who decide to come and work for you. It's about trust. In only 10 years or so, you've built up that sort of reputation that people say, I wonder if Applebridge can handle that. Let's go to Applebridge. Let's see. That trust it's a difficult thing, really difficult thing to get, but you do seem to have it. You seem to be on that radar at the moment, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that comes from early engagement, getting involved with projects early on, trying to give clients good advice and the right advice that benefits their projects, trying to add value into the projects right from an early stage. I think our stats for repeat business, we have about 80% of our business comes from repeat business with existing clients.
Right.
And we then develop teams, not just our internal teams, but teams that extend to our clients, teams who are used to working together. And it makes it so much easier when you are faced with problems, when you are faced with issues. They become so much easier to overcome because you have that personal relationship where we can sit in a room and discuss things, and it becomes more of a partnership than a finger pointing exercise. So in turn, we would always try and replicate the same to our supply chain, because what benefits us benefits them, and it develops that team all the way through the chain.
Yeah, that's interesting. Just briefly, what's sort of on the agenda next? Have you got, I don't know what stuff you can talk about, but there's presumably a sort of a pipeline of projects that you're going to move once things like the SEER thing is going to keep you busy for a really long time. I know, like Middlesbrough College and that sort of thing. You've got other projects that you perhaps can't talk about, but you can say there's enough in there to keep you're confident for a little while yet.
Yeah, I mean, the pipeline looks strong. Look, don't get me wrong, it's a challenge out there at the moment, and there's certain sectors that are still underperforming. The residential market is really struggling, and when we've diversified to undertake more commercial work, more industrial work. Those sectors are buoyant, and there's opportunities out there. But the order book's full, it's where we'd expect it to be at this stage, and certainly plenty of work in the pipeline.
Good. Is it a job you still enjoy, Andy? Do you still get up in the morning and think, right, smash it, what can we do today? Does it give you that buzz still?
It does. I can't think I'd want to be doing anything different to this. I work with some great people from top to bottom in this business, who we all have the attitude of we work hard, and people there's a genuine team spirit. People are working hard for each other. And it's hard not to enjoy what you do when you're surrounded by good people.
Yeah,
it's not easy. Every day is not a breeze. Of course, it's not. But no, I enjoy the business. I enjoy the people that I work with. And yeah, as long as that's still happening, then I'll jump out of bed on a morning and I'll drag myself here.
And people have obviously understood that. They've understood the enjoyment you're having. They've understood the growth. And that's why you get titles like Company of the Year. That's no mean accolade, that the people have looked so deeply into your business, how it's run, what it stands for, what it's doing for the region, and they've given you that title. So I'd say once again, it's all congratulations to you and the team, of course. I do love the acronym of you being God. That's Group Operations Director. That's fantastic. But it's the whole team, of course. It's each one again. It's that interlocking part. Each member of the family pulling together, isn't it?
I think, I think there's other people in here that would challenge the title of God, but but no, it is about the people. It absolutely is. Like I said earlier on, we brand ourselves as a family, and that wasn't an accident. It's what we want to be. It's what we want to be known as. It's how we want to treat people. It's something that, Donny was very, very precious about. He's got, members of his own family working in the business. There's lots of other people who have family members working in the business. And we've always taken a great deal of pride from that if you're prepared to bring your son, your daughter, your aunt, your uncle to your workplace and recommend this as a good place to work, then hopefully we're doing something right and we've built the right culture.
Yeah, I think you're doing absolutely fine at the moment. More power to you. Listen, Andy, thank you so much for your time. It's been fascinating to find out a little bit more about someone who's won that award of the Business of the Year. It's been really interesting. Looking forward to following Applebridge over the years as the region grows and as you grow. Thanks for your time, Andy. This is BUSINESSiQ's Business Brew podcast. Catch us on Spotify and on YouTube. We'll see you again soon. Thanks again.